going on, guys? Tuesday night live stream, but this isn't your normal typical Comic News Weekly live stream we do every Tuesday. We are doing a very special episode tonight. We talked about it the past couple weeks. We had Andy giving his Motor City Comic Con report last week, but this week we got a whole panel just here to talk about Baltimore Comic Con. Friends and family of Simple Man's Comics. We are doing a two-for show, so we're going to start the stream here on Simple Man's Comics, and then once we finish up, head over to Tales from the Flip Side YouTube channel. We're going to carry it over there. Two shows, Baltimore Comic Con, epic. But before we get into it, let's introduce the panelists. You guys know him from Tales from the Flip Side himself, Mr. Brian McClay.
What up, brother? Looking forward to this. I feel energized. I feel like super strength right now, man.
I know, like 5 minutes ago, I was ready to take a nap, but then we're ready to talk about Baltimore Comic Con because we need a nap after that con as much fun as we had. But we also have from Tales from the Flip Side from CBSI back in the day, longtime friend, tall ass mother lover, Big Leg.
That's me. What's up, everybody? How you guys doing?
Your room and your camera angle makes you look a little shorter, but we all know you're like freaking Jolly Green Giant over there.
Yeah, people figured that out. They realized I was either I did have one or two people say that I was taller than they thought. They said other people were shorter than they thought, but yeah, I don't want to rub that in. So it was fun, and now everybody knows I'm a hugger. So whatever.
Yeah, and it's great because this is like what, fifth Baltimore Comic Con you and I've been to together.
Yeah, man. Something like, I think five years, and then obviously we skipped one. So I think because this is the fourth, but it's 5 years for obvious 2020 sucked reasons. So
yes,
yeah. So yeah, definitely, man. That was fun. Still great to see everybody. And yeah, this is another epic Baltimore.
Yes, but we got more people to introduce. We have another great longtime member of Flipside, CBSI, Simple Man's Comics Patreon member. We are talking old school, unpressable defects podcast Patreon member, Mr. Rob Comics himself, Rob Fordham, the king of foreign comics.
Yep, Twin Towers in the house, me and Sean.
Yeah, you're no short mofo either. I noticed that when I was standing next to you.
Not at all.
And the bad thing is, it's not like I'm a midget.
Nah, standing tall. That's all it is.
No.
But we also have this guy, wasn't going to Baltimore Comic Con. We are down there Friday afternoon. All of us are down there on the scene, reporting live from the scene, and we're getting text messages. Hey, man, I really want to come down there. Do you think I should come down? And he got in the car, drove, 10, 12 hours through the night, got in there 2 o'clock in the morning Saturday. And the producer behind the scenes, Mr. Comic Man Andy, but you might know him as El Beardo Jefe. At least I do. What's up, buddy?
I drove 1,300 miles round trip to be back here in time to push your buttons this week, buddy. So here I am.
Awesome.
So yes, those guys tuning into the chat. Thank you so much. This is not your normal weekly Comic News Weekly live stream. We are recapping Baltimore Comic Con. We got the best people to do it. And like I said, after this one, we can go right over to Tales from the Flip Side, where there's going to be more Baltimore Comic Con coverage. But we want to welcome you guys to Baltimore, share our experience with you. So come with us right now as we walk into Baltimore Comic Con. So,
bro, that couldn't have been more perfect.
You know, great bumper. Lucky for you guys, the viewers, you got to just walk right in to Baltimore Comic Con. If we were there early Friday, we got there when the box office opened to get our wristbands and get our tickets so we could walk in just like that. But if you showed up Saturday morning, the biggest day of the Comic Con, you weren't so lucky, right? So Baltimore had COVID precautions where you had to get your temperature checked. You had to show your vaccination card. You had to wear your mask. And there was a lot of what, up to an hour and a half to 2 hour wait in line with this. I've never seen Baltimore Comic Con's always been pretty much as busy as it is. You kind of just walk right in. Not so much this year.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the COVID precautions? And I know a lot of us got in early. Andy, you were able to get some privileges to help you get in there early as well. But there was a lot of people in line, including friends of ours, that line wrapped all the way down the convention center and back to the start for an hour and a half, 2 hour wait. And if that was me, I would have gone to a bar.
I shared my screen, Andy. If you want to show the video,
I didn't get in early, Brian. This is pure universe. I can't wait to talk about this. This is purely the universe shining down on me Saturday. So,
yeah, this is the line just for the COVID testing, or for to get in,
just to get in the door.
Testing. Wow.
If you had your bracelet and you showed your Vax card or your negative test the day before, and that line, as you're looking at it, wraps around the corner to the left, like pretty damn far. And so I took that video, but so this was Saturday afternoon. I went Friday morning. There was a line, half of the beginning of the line that you just saw here. There was half of that, and it wasn't a lot of people. And it was early, unlike other years where there's CGC on site and you're trying to get in early. And I've had press passes and things before. I just bought a ticket this year, so I turned around. Or this time I went to Pratt Street Ale House. It was in the small part of the convention center, right as you can see where we're looking towards at the beginning, and those weird architectural triangle things. That's normally where it's at. And so Pratt Street's across, and I said, hey, I knew Brian was outside. I got to meet his lovely wife, who was he just posted her post right there, and a couple other people there. So I said, I'll walk over, I'll have a beer, I'll see if this subsides a little bit. And I waited about an hour, had a beer, and then I walked right in. And that was Friday, right about 2:00. On Saturday, man, I went in the morning. I got in. I already had my ticket. You had to get 2 wristbands, the COVID wristband and the regular wristband. Already had those on, so I got to walk right in. No big deal. I didn't even notice the line because my hotel's on the other side. I came out for the same reason, to go to Pratt Street House for a quick refreshment in the afternoon. And that's why I started recording these people. I said, man, these poor people, it's Saturday. And what sucks is 30 minutes after I walked down and ordered a cold one, it started pouring torrential rain on people, like hard. And as I'm traveling from California, I looked the weather forecast all week long just to see. I don't know what to bring. I don't know how cold it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to rain, things like that. We're just we have different weather. And so I didn't have that. I left the rain jacket, didn't bring one, grabbed, but didn't need it because it only rained for whatever that amount of time. And then there was a little bit of wetness and stuff before, but I just felt,
just long enough to take that stank out of the Baltimore air for about 5 minutes.
Dude, it was, that was extra. I just felt bad for those people waiting in line because that's their Saturday. A lot of those people probably only have a Saturday pass, Yeah. And that was afternoon. It had been open since I believe 10 in the morning.
I thought it was so cool seeing it with that video you showed, Andy, you walking up and the girl working the line throws you the horns, and then you got people recognizing you and you saying what's up to them on camera, dude. That was dope. Who was that that did that in front of you?
So that was Sparks Comics and You Promised Me Comics. And if you guys are ready for me to hop into this really quick, this was purely the universe shining down on me. I did not get privileges. I did not get to enter early. As you said, Friday hit, and I'm getting straight up FOMO, watching everybody post pictures. And Brian, you were getting lunch at Pratt Street Ale House, and I said, "Oh hell no, I gotta go those wings, man." And so I'm like looking for reasons that I can't go. Right? Okay, plane tickets, way too much money. All right, gas. Oh, gas isn't terrible, and it's a similar drive that I did in 19. All right, well, there's that. There can't be any there's no way there's hotel rooms available. Sure enough. What was it? That Sheridan that was attached to the convention center right there where they're doing the Ringo Awards still had rooms. And they were what I would consider a reasonable rate for a con weekend down in Baltimore. Is this going to book? It booked. Well, I guess I'm going. And lo and behold, the wife even messaged me. She's like, well, your laundry's already done and your bag's already half packed because she said, I kind of had a feeling. I loaded
Who are
up.
you married to? Julie Andrews?
I left work a little early. I was back on the road. The trouble was I have to drive all the way east to go to work. So I had to drive all the way west again to get home to pick up my bags, to drive all the way east again to head to Baltimore. And I left at 3:15. I got in at 1:18, 1:20 in the morning. And no sooner did I park and walk into the lobby, Comic Cord Chad and JD Comics from Golden Guys walked in, and it was all sorts of hooping and hollering. But big line. I didn't even have a ticket. Didn't even buy a ticket yet. I just made sure I had a room and gas money. I got there, passed out right away, woke up, and the universe, like IG feed, Big Lion Cat's like, nobody's claimed this free 3-day pass that I got with my VIP package. Is there anybody here that needs one? And I'm like, yeah, I do still, because Big Leg down here didn't go to bed until 6 a.m. on Saturday morning, and his pass is still with him in the room. And Lion, bless
Morning.
Big Lion Cat's heart. He loves to go to the convention first thing in the morning after breakfast and wait in line and hang out with people. And so he kind of like, hey man, I'll be out here. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't seen you in 2 years. I really want to hang out with you. Lo and behold, Sparks Comics, You Promised Me Comics, myself and Big Lion Cat were out there like 8:25, 8:30. So we were at the very, very front of the line, and I had everything I needed to basically, the temperature check was super fast. That was good. And then they brought us right up to that upper balcony to wait in line, and we were at the very front of the second line. So we were shining down on me right there, getting in, because I didn't know about it until I went out to get some fresh air, how long that line was. And the line for the testing on the opposite side of Sean's video, that line wrapped all the way back around the other side of the building, back around to the hotel where I was at. And that was for on-site testing just to get in. And that was several hours worth of waiting too.
Yeah, and it's funny because, John and his wife Erica from the 616 Comics came into town, and we went and had breakfast, and the line was kind of busy, but I was like, yeah, it'll die down once the con opens. So we went and ate after we were eating. Luckily, my wife just went in Friday and didn't go Saturday or Sunday, and same with my buddy's wife. So they had no intention of going in, and they texted us while we were at breakfast going, hey, this line is good luck. And luckily, it's like we went back and got their COVID bracelets and taped it on John and Erica, and then went to the head of the line. But then the guy was like, even if you have the COVID, if you have to go buy a wristband, you need to go all the way back to the end of the line. And I was just trying to be funny. I wasn't trying to do anything about it, but I had a press pass, and I was just yelling at the guy that big Animal House fan that I was just trying to show it off, saying, but I have a pledge pin. I have a pledge pin. And the guy's like, oh, you guys were here yesterday? And we're like, yeah, we just need to buy a ticket because we bought a one day. And he's like, go ahead. So we were like, because I was like, if I have to get in that line, or I guess I wouldn't set a press pass, but I'd still wait with my friends. Like I said, I'm going to a bar. I'll go in later. But Joe Seaborn, Doc Joe, who's in the chat, he was in that line, and took so much out of him. He got in there, we saw him, and he's like, yeah, I'm leaving. I'll just come back tomorrow because I'm just tired from standing in that line.
Oh man, yeah, that was rough. And we all know how Comic Cons run. Okay, there's the workers, either generally, they're seasonal workers, or they're sometimes union, sometimes there's kids working for tickets, things like that. And we have some of our friends have managed them and stuff like that. And half the people don't know where the hell to line up, especially on these big cons like out here, San Diego or WonderCon. And it's like going to the DMV. Every time you stand in line, somebody gives you a different answer, right? And so I'm sitting but this one, yeah, with the tickets and the testing tickets and them being separate, and I didn't even realize that they had on-site testing. I thought you had to show up with it.
They were also doing on-site vaccinations as well.
I didn't see that. Oh god,
$30.
Raider style.
$30 you had to pay.
Wow.
Imagine the $30 you had to pay to get that vaccination. That's how much it was to get on-site vaccinated to go in. You really wanted to go in at that point.
Yeah, you really want to go in there. Fine, dude. Probably somebody getting their third or fourth shot just because they didn't want to leave.
But
forgot my card. Give me another shot.
But I will say that we just talked about that, and we kind of shit on Baltimore for it. But I understand the precautions they were taking. And with that being said, that was my word. That's the worst part of the con, because everything else was the Baltimore Comic Con that we know. I mean, if you're a fan of comics, Baltimore Comic Con is truly one of the best conventions to go to, because they always have so many exhibitors with actual comic books. Yes, they have the swords and the shields, and at some point I thought it was an airport, because everyone's got their damn carry-on luggage running you over with their boxes and books to sign and everything. But it's always one of the best cons as far as bin diving, finding great deals. And Leggett and Rob and McClay, we'll get into it more on the flip side stream on the second half, but they had they had their own tables and booths there. We had some other friends that are retailers that had booths there. We had Phil from Vintage Comics and Toys. He was rocking it out. So it was great seeing friends as retailers. It was great seeing other YouTubers. There's a lot of YouTubers that I didn't get to see there that, I always call Baltimore Comic Con, it's like your wedding weekend, because you get done with it and you're like, oh, so-and-so was there. I got to talk to him for like 5 minutes or whatever. But either way, it's one of the best cons. I picked up some books, and even when I got there, Mr. Foreign Variant master himself, Robert, big, huge Masters of the Universe fan, for those that don't know, but he gave me the DC Universe, Masters of the Universe.
Spanish.
The Spanish, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
See, I messed it up, but the Spanish variant here, and I was like, how much do I owe you? He's like, nothing, for my friend, and these are books that are like PC books. And then I picked up a couple other books. Aftershock had that Chicken Devil exclusive variant. So I do have one more other bone to pick. Like all the previous years, these exclusive variants were always like $10. Now they're 20. Every exclusive variant is $20. And then AWA Upshot booth, they had their little spin the wheel, and I got their little preview for their horror thriller series preview. So it's some horror series that they got. Big horror comics fan. Love AWA Upshot. The last time Baltimore had their Comic-Con, they had a foot army of marketers in there before anyone knew who AWA Upshot was. They're handing out those preview books, and those ended up going for good money on the secondary market. But Upshot, definitely a great publisher if you're an indie fan. And of course, Aftershock. I picked up another book I'm not going to talk about now, because as soon as I bought it, I instantly walked over to CBCS and submitted it for grading. CGC wasn't on site. They had some
signature
posers,
series,
posers there that had made it look like it was CGC, and then in the small print it was like a facilitator for CGC.
Yeah,
and there was people there waiting for like an hour. They said waiting to get their book submitted, and I was like, nope, I'm out.
Yeah, fluid facilitator poser. There's some people I wanted to talk to about some specific books, and I went over and realized that nobody worked there. And so I'm going to use my personal connections instead. I like to talk to people face to face when I get a chance, but that chance wasn't actual.
I ended up I only looked for one book, because like this is my first time at Baltimore. It was absolutely, like you said, it felt just like a real comic convention. There's a lot of people there slinging books, and it was really cool. But I just didn't have time to do it. Like you said, Brian, it was crazy. Seeing so many people, talking to so many people, meeting so many people. So I went looking on Saturday. I spent like an hour or so looking for one book. I always look for a couple of books at cons, but this is one of them that I look for every time. It's been like 5 years since I've been able to find it. I hit up 3 booths and went through all their S's looking for it. Actually 4 booths. Nobody even had any static books. Like I was like, do you have any milestone books specifically static? Like half of them were like, no, we don't have. We might have 1 or 2, like the first one, but nothing else. So I finally was walking past the booth and I'm like, hey, do you have any static books? And he's like, yeah, just the final 5. And the book I've been looking for forever. As soon as he said that, I was like, so the book I've been looking for forever is this book. This is Static number 40, which also includes the Lost Boys on the
Renee.
cover. Yeah, you got it, Renee, man. When I first heard that song, Renee, man, that shit changed my life. This hip hop group became one of my favorite all time, hip hop group, just musicians. Period. You know what I mean? Like their first 2 albums are absolutely groundbreaking in my opinion. And unfortunately, I know one of the members got murdered after their second album. So
Freaky
like my
Tile.
grail is to always find what was that, Rob? Their
Freaky Tile was the one.
Freaky Tah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Freaky Tah got shot and killed, right? He got shot and killed. And so like one of my grails is to find this book signed by all the members of the band, which would be amazing. I doubt if I'll ever see it, but just to find this book, period. And like I said, it was really cool seeing it. And he handed it to me, had like a $40 price tag on it. I didn't even haggle. When like at this point, when you're looking for a book that's like less than $100 and you've been looking for it for that long, you just want to get it as fast as you can, pay for it as fast as you can. So I was really stoked to get it. So it was a lot of fun doing that, and it gave me less stuff I had to haul back. Did any of you guys have to drop anything off at shipping? Some of the guys had to drop stuff off of shipping. So,
yeah,
good stuff.
Big Leg, did you buy anything?
I honestly didn't really buy much.
Beer?
I didn't have it sitting here. It was to me, it was just more fun. I got a few comics. My brother-in-law Jared that came, who was just coming honestly just because I told him it was a hangout and because he's a Ravens fan and never been to a game and asked if I'd go with him, and I said, well, hell yeah. So
and a huge Orioles fan.
Yeah, and an Orioles fan. He'd never been there, and we know somebody who's an ex-scout for the Orioles for a lot of years, like one of the head of scouting, and that he couldn't even get him due to the restrictions or no tours period, couldn't even get him in there with anybody.
He said, I caught him outside, and he had done a walk around, and and my hotel room overlooked Camden Yards at the Hilton, which was pretty cool.
Nice, yeah. I did get some bar tabs. I ate a lot of crab cakes from Peter's Pour House was a multiple day event for me. They should sponsor me to go to next Baltimore Comic Con for the amount of people I bring in there.
100%. Yeah.
But that's actually not necessary. I'd just be happy to get back there. So no, I didn't buy much. I'd be digging at booths. And then over the years, I have met vendors, and not even obviously just the online ones that people are in there that, we remember each other. I bought books and stuff like that. I felt bad for not digging more, spending more money with some of those people that probably used to be spending a few more bucks to, it's the kind of show you save up to go see what you can find.
Yeah, definitely got to give a shout out to Carl, who's like our resident Baltimore Comic Con exhibit booth that we go to at Ion Comics, right? He's always stacked, always got stuff. As soon as he sells stuff out of his boxes, he restacks it, and it's always a crowd there. And the nicest guy, always takes care of you. And I also, I went through about 6 or 7 booths, and I sat there and dug probably 10 to 12 books out, right? And then I looked at it, and my buddy Matt was with me, and I'd have these books in my hand, and I said, hey, do you want any of these? And he's like, you're not going to buy them? I was like, I don't know, do you want them? And he's like, yeah, I'll take some. And then I would put whatever he didn't put back. It's like, I kept digging books, but I didn't want to spend money on books because I have so much stuff at the house that it's like, I don't need to be bringing more things in. So I did buy those few books that I shown, and then I bought a Disney Comics and Stories. I won't say what issue it was, but that's what I dropped up at CBCS. Rob, what did you buy?
I, believe it or not, I didn't buy any foreigns. I bought the U.S. editions of books I needed. I've been chasing this one book from. I had a friend from Pittsburgh went to a con in, I think it was Ohio, and he found a double cover Wonder Woman 206, which is it adds to the Wonder Woman 206, which for those that don't know is the first cover appearance of Nubia. So he found that, he tagged me, and the guy said he was bringing it to Baltimore, and I was like, that's the first booth I went to out the brick to go get it. I said I have to have it. So I got that book, and then on the way.
So you got to show off the one.
Yeah. But on top of the Nubia thing, I came across Aletha Martinez and got some OA.
Nice.
This is the first splash page of Nubia in the Queen armor, blue lines and all.
That's awesome, man.
That's amazing.
And it's page 4, so this is number 1, page 4. Current comic came out Wednesday, and I said, as a Nubia collector, I saw it and was like, you know where it's going. Just go ahead and wrap it up. Give it to me.
I shared the 206, Andy, to show people what the 206 cover looks like. And when Rob told me that he got this at the con, it was probably, to me, like, there was few people that got like really good stuff. Hearing him get this book, knowing how much that he loves this book and how much he collects this book,
And
to hear he
double
got
covered?
this, as a double cover, was like mind blowing to me. So congrats on that, brother. That was one of the best pickups at the con for sure.
And
Even how you got it doesn't matter. You still got it at the con. So
shout out to Philip Thompson. He's in another Facebook group called Black Comic Lords. He really hooked me up. I sent him a form in the place of giving me that information, because for those that don't know or follow me on IG, I have the complete international set of Wonder Woman 206. Every country. There's 6 books total. And then I have the 204 and the 205. So for all of those that want to see it on IG, you're more than welcome to check it out. But
where do they find you on IG? I know it's on your name tag.
Yeah, Rob's Comics at 81, comics with an X. So with that, it's definitely another added piece of history to the Nubia set that I have. And this is just the icing on the cake to have this. And I bought the variants from Wednesday too.
That's still not the one I want to see, though.
Oh,
you dropped that off, didn't you? What about your sketch?
Oh, the stealth reads? Oh, that's in the box. I'll go grab that in a second.
Well,
yeah.
So that was a great one. You got some great Brian Stelfree stuff there. So
this is one of the prints I got from Stelfree. This is on the back. Monica Rambeau. His watercolors is amazing. I had to grab it just the way he did it.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Sign the bottom, of course.
Nice. Artist Alley was always great, but before we get into, I don't want to get into that quite yet. Andy, did you bought some books, right? I mean, you even put one like in a baby seat and freaking wrapped it in blankets and everything, right?
I wasn't planning on
buying it.
I wasn't planning on buying a single book. This Baltimore trip, the FOMO was about the people, right? There were many people that I hadn't seen for 2 years, and many more people I've been wanting to see for the last 2 years and spend time with and hang out. And I kid you not, man, that made the entire trip. 40 plus people from IG and YouTube that I got to meet up with and spend time with. And I kid you not, that little clip of walking into Baltimore that was recorded, the footage that I recorded walking through Baltimore, it's like every 5 or 6 minutes as I'm walking through Baltimore, I run into another friend. The entire footage that I rolled through there was running into people, and it was just so awesome and such good energy, and it's very uplifting, honestly. But yes, after all the recording was done, after all the hanging out was done, finally it was, I think, like 5:30. I'm like, oh, this is going to end here soon. If I'm going to actually look at walls, I need to start doing it soon. Besides going to see specific vendors and spending time with them, I started walking, and I got stopped, froze after right midnight? In my tracks. Huh?
Did you go out walking after midnight? That's a Patsy Cline reference. My bad.
Oh, man. I'm not that old.
My mother-in-law sings at a karaoke.
I was to say I'm not that old, but
I was about to say, man. Yeah, you know what Patsy Cline is, bro.
I did go for a little stroll, did go for a little walk, and was frozen in my tracks because finally, after quite a long while of looking, this doesn't show up at any of my local conventions. You don't find raw copies. You don't find this book, period, at a convention or at a comic shop where I live. You have to go directly online. I don't want to buy this from eBay. I'd rather support an LCS or a vendor at a convention. And Baltimore, we are 2 for 2 for Mega Grail pickups. 1 in 19, the ASM 129, and then the Loroca 1 in 25 here. And that was one of those things where Brian's McClay's like, you don't really tend to haggle much when it's a book you've been looking for, but I came educated. I educate myself about this book, and I stay with the trends on this book. So when I run into it, I know where we're at, right? And the dealer definitely worked with me is what I'm trying to get to. The vernacular is escaping me. He worked with me. You know what I mean? It became a transfer payment. And the funny part is I called the CEO of the Comic Dojo, my wife, And before the conversation got too far in, she's on speaker making him a cash offer. I'm like, well, there's my permission. So here we are. I'll let you go, hon, and I'll finish this. And I didn't even plan on buying this. But you don't see it. And when I saw it, I planned on not seeing it at all. So I'm like, with the Disney's investors meeting coming up in just several weeks, there's likely to be zero Afra news, but any Star Wars news from Disney tends to take these Grail keys or these variant keys and tends to prop them up a little bit or sustain them or send them a little bit higher. So this is only the second opportunity I've had. The first opportunity I passed up. The second one, I'm not going to miss out on this for the PC collection. And then
speaking of books you don't find much in cons, normally when you go to conventions, especially Baltimore, the past few times we've gone, there's a trend usually in the booths where there's always like one wall book, one popular modern, whether it's like Something is Killing the Children or, you know, the Batman Wang or something. I didn't see that this year going through all these booths. There wasn't like that one book that everyone had that everyone was looking for, especially from a modern. Granted, you had your typical booths that had your Hulk 181s, your AF-15s, but I didn't see like that common modern book that's kind of high priced and especially on the wall, even higher priced. Did you guys see any of those trends?
Yeah, everybody had fucking Lethal Protector red foil up for $100 or more.
Yeah,
I saw one guy with a 9.8 for $199, and I wanted to hug him for just being realistic on this planet. You know what I mean? Anyway, so yeah, I made a comment about the Venom Lethal Protectors all dug out and all over 100 on every other wall.
I actually went looking around for the Adam Hughes Harley Quinn. I tried to see if anybody had one, couldn't find it. I saw one Legion of Superheroes, but it was like a 7.5 graded, and I was like, Well, I was looking for. I'm always looking for a J. Scott Campbell Black Cat 1. I haven't found one. The only one I did find that I was actually like, I'm gonna buy it just because I see it. I found this. It was clean. I bought this from Cars Collectibles and Comics right across from the Flipside booth. He had two of them. I grabbed the better version of it because I have the international set of this too. But I was like, you know, it's clean. I like it. It's not a 3.0 or nothing like that. But I said, you know, I have to have it. And I, during my little intermission, I pulled out my other one. This is the double cover.
Looks gorgeous.
Yeah, that's nice, man.
I would just for the sake of the viewers, I'll do the.
Oh, look at this! All of us right now are scared to death.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm careful. I'm no fool.
You can touch comics, man. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just take the tape off.
Yeah.
I bet took that off. But
yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
beautiful.
That's white too. Like nice and white.
Oh man,
dude!
Let's take the top one off and sell it as separate.
Right.
It's got two. You don't need both covers.
You know what's great about that cover that makes it even better? It's got the date stamp on it, and they don't grade that cover. They grade the inner cover, right?
Yep. But the only thing about it is that it's a nick. It had a miscut on the inside cover, so I was like, it's a manufactured defect. But I'm like, I don't care. It's still a double cover.
Yep.
And,
doesn't matter.
Yeah. And then during my little brief intermission, I fished this out to you, Brian.
Yes. That's what I was excited about.
I'm going to talk about this one for a second. He did a Kickstarter for Thomas River, which is supposed to be a James Bond-esque character. Now, the story behind this guy is his origin. He grew up in Baltimore, Cherry Hill, and he said on the video from the Kickstarter, he said that he would do a free sketch if you bring him the blank variant.
Wow.
He said this is the first one he's gotten at a con, and he wrote it on there for me.
Oh, nice.
First con sketch. Wow, that's cool.
That's
and then, you know, on the back, you know, this came with the Kickstarter too, with the 5 covers that, you know, the plate saying that, you know, original Kickstarter. But I'm a Brian Stelfie's friend. If anybody don't know that, I feel sorry for you, but this will never leave. This is mine.
That's awesome, dude.
Stelfreeze.
You got to get that framed.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Great artist with Brian Stelfreeze. He's one of those ones. He's not underappreciated, but I don't think he gets his due justice or the credit that he deserves. Put it that way.
Yeah. And then
what's ironic is we have 5 people in this panel, and we've asked, and not a single one of us went to Comic Con hunting anything specific, which is totally weird. It was just like, everyone I think was like excited to see each other and experience a con, but we had nothing that we were really hunting for. But everyone came out with something freaking spectacular. I know Andy had been hunting for that Darth Vader variant, but it wasn't like, hey, I'm going to go to Baltimore and get it.
Yeah.
I had it was honestly similar to what with Andy being. I just stopped somewhere, and then I'm talking to somebody, and then it's like shit. Now there's 15 more boxes to dig through, and I just end up moving on, or going to look for other stuff. So I did more wall watching than I did digging, which has never ever been. I mean, do both. You can see the wall right in front of you. Some people. I also, if anybody's listening, I do prefer when people actually price things. Like if you got 10 boxes not priced, like I don't have one. It just nah.
I went to a couple of them where they weren't even in order. The guy's like, I was like, do you have any static? He's like, somewhere in one of these boxes there's got to be static. And I'm like, what does that mean? And I looked through, none of them are in order. Nothing. I'm like, I just got up and walked away.
Yeah. Dude, I did see some static wall books.
My closet is more organized than that.
Yeah.
I kind of know what's in each box, and I have like labels on the outside. That doesn't mean they're all alphabetical or anything like that. I can kind of find my stuff, but like, yeah, if I've never shown up at a con without my basically priced in order.
Yeah.
We have a few more minutes real quick before we flip it over to the flip side channel, but Artist Alley is always great at Baltimore. Brian K. Vaughan, of course, had a big line, but you had a lot of great artists. And what I love as a fan of the artist, but sometimes as a comic fan for artists, you get a lot of great artists there that there's not a big crowd around them, and so you can kind of sit there, talk to them.
Yep.
They'll do things for you. Trish Forstner, of course, she had a little bit of popularity there, especially with Stray Dogs. But there were some other great artists there that you could walk right up to, talk to, sign books, all types of. Baltimore Comic Con always has a great artist alley, even with a bunch of people canceling.
Yep. Yeah. And I'll hop right in and say, if you guys aren't checking out Artist Alley, people watching, do yourselves a favor and make sure you take a stroll through there and check that out. I've taken the advice and I've started doing a sketchbook, and we got a hold of Steve Messenger art there, and he did this killer Boba Fett piece for us on the convention floor in just a matter of hours while we were walking around hanging out with everybody. And that's become my new favorite thing to do at a con, because it's the art is amazing, but the experience with the artist is even more amazing.
Yeah, just make sure you put that up out of your kids' reach, or you might have some extra sketches in there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great, but yeah, at least my kids would be that way.
Speak of the devil.
It was kind of cool to see how big Trish was. Like, there was huge artists there that nobody was at their table, and there was people waiting in line for her every time I walked by. Like, I didn't want to bother her. I didn't even really go say hi, because every time I walked by, there was like 4 people waiting for her. It was crazy.
Yeah, and she wasn't in the back, but she was kind of in the middle, towards the back, where it wasn't up there with like some of these other people, and it was great to see her booth have the crowd that it had.
They even came out and put like taped off a little thing to make a line, because she didn't have it. And then when everybody was there, they're like, we got to tape this off. And that was kind of cool to see.
Put it this way. Friday afternoon, I walked by her booth. She had like 8 people, because I was trying to talk to her as well. I went by Joe Quesada, and there was 2 people.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Now that's he was sitting there, and a lot of times he might be sitting there, but they're not talking to people. But even then, you still have people like around going, hey, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I'm not signing right now. But I just found it odd where he was kind of just sitting there. If you wouldn't see the sign, you wouldn't have known or know who he was. You wouldn't know that's Joe Quesada. Put it that way.
I do want to give a quick shout out. You already mentioned this once before, but I got to meet him at the con, and it was really cool to meet the 616 Comics team because they are really, really cool people. It was really, really nice to talk to them in person. Very surprising to meet them. They're really cool people, man. Really cool people.
Yeah, I wanted to go through some of these pictures real quick. So, of course, Alberto Jefe there with John and his wife Eric from 616. Awesome friendship. Sponsor of this channel. The Patreon boxes, a lot of those books come from John at the 616 Comics. So it was great to finally meet face to face. We did some. They showed up late Friday night. We had some adult Kool-Aids together, and then went and had breakfast that next morning. But and then you know how it always is when you go into a con with people, you can kind of stick together for a little bit, but then it's just like, hey, I'll meet you back here. I'll see you around, and then you just kind of go do your own thing. But John and Eric are some of the nicest people, and they got kick-ass exclusives up there on their website at the 616comics.com. He was there, spent Friday afternoon basically doing business, talking to artists, talking to publishers. He was talking to AWA Upshot. I know he is talking to he partners with your friend Anthony Bird City. But once they knocked that out, he was talking to Aftershock about trying to get some books approved. If they get one of these books approved, it's awesome cover, especially if you're a Forrest Gump fan. That's all I'll say about it. But I hope that gets approved. I wanted to show it off, and he said, "We can't. It's not approved yet." And I was like, "All right, I'll sit tight for now." But yeah, I mean, Baltimore Comic Con, always a great time if you're a comic collector. It's a great thing for the community, especially when you get to meet up. That's our like yearly hangout where we all come from across the United States. Some of us, we have sleepovers out in front of drugstores. It's just fantastic, but it's always a good time. And the shenanigans part of it, we will follow up with here in just a few minutes on the after hour show on Flipside. But real quick, we got about 10 minutes before we get out of here, guys. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about from Baltimore Comic Con to let the viewers know, hey, what you're missing out on?
Man, Friday night, shout out to Short Box. This bag was clutch on Saturday.
Yeah.
I can't even stress it enough. They was giving these out during the raffle, and I happened to win one. Big Leg got one too.
Yeah.
But,
Short Box had an awesome get together, right? I mean, it was free to go to. They provided food. They were giving out T-shirts. They were doing free raffles for this bag that he got. They raffled off a Killing Joke 9/8, and it was all free. So shout out to a bunch of the Short Box guys.
Yeah, that was great. I want to say thanks again. I applied just today. I did for the first to submit to be a dealer. It looks like a good way to really good way to sell slabs. Looks like the easiest way to list slabs that exists on the planet. I don't think it's close. You can get it. Looks like if you already know your price, you probably get a slab list in about 15 seconds on there once you're approved, and they only do slabs. So I think that's a really good option for a lot of us. That shit's on eBay pretty easily. At their fees being 10%. So I want to get in contact with those guys. That Jim Lee bag they gave out with the Short Box logo, that thing was amazing. Yeah, I definitely grabbed it for the next day as well. I put my little cheesy thin backpack that I carry with the boxes. I was like, nope. I was like, that's it, dude. That's it. That Short Box thing's got poster sides. Yeah, and nice guys. They had great slabs. They had a good vision, and they really threw a nice event upstairs for us with tell us about what they're doing at Pratt Street. Wasn't huge, but it was successful, and a lot of cool people in there. So kind of hopefully look forward to be selling with them. After now that my application's in. It seems like a really, really good option, and they threw a really nice party. So,
I did want to bring up one more thing because we talked about at the beginning of the show, and I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but there's this thing out there called COVID right now, and the hospitality industry is freaking struggling with COVID. I mean, everywhere we went to, there's staffing issues. Hey, we can't seat you right now, and then you look and it's like, hey, you got empty tables. Well, they're being hit with trying to staff for COVID, and people not, they're understaffed. But what I did find out is a lot of those franchise places, they might be understaffed, but it's still a customer service oriented industry. And a lot of them are just like, screw you, we don't have room, you don't have a reservation, get the hell out. We walked a couple extra blocks, went into Little Italy. They were understaffed. We went to an Italian restaurant, and they're like, hey, if you don't have a reservation, let me take a look. We see if we squeeze you in. Wait here, wait outside for 15 minutes. They come out and like, hey, we can squeeze you in upstairs. And it was like the best meal we ate that whole weekend. So I understand being overstaffed or understaffed, but it's frustrating, but you're still in a customer service industry, at least have a little customer service. Because Pratt Street Ale House, the food was good, but the service was like, hey, you can't sit outside. They sit us inside. Then it's like, oh, no, now you can't sit outside, but we can't sit you in the shade. And then they sit the next tables in the shade. And every time you ask a question, food was good, but the service could have been better. But I also understand the COVID is affecting everyone.
I live for wings. Those wings are amazing.
The wings are delicious.
Yeah. That was the main place that we went to. My thing that I'll say is, and I'll echo everybody else, by far the best experience was just hanging out, meeting everybody, getting to sit down people, as Sean would say, breaking bread with people. It really means a lot. Like, there's that saying for a reason. Like, it's there for a reason. Sitting down, eating with each other, trying to pay for dinner and nobody will let you pay. That type of shit. Talking to people eye to eye, telling stories, telling about each other, learning things that you never learned about other people. It's super important in what we are as humans, and we need more of that more than ever. So shout out to everybody that was there, that said hello, that spent time with us. It was by far the best thing. It energized me to the point where, Flipside is talking about trying to get in as many cons as possible and, see as many people as possible and do that more often where, we get to see, I met Ashley for the first time. I met Dino's wife for the first time. I met a lot of people, that I didn't get to have never even really talked to, and everybody was just so nice and really cool and cordial. Even some people that might not get along, super cordial. It was just, it's much, much, much needed in our atmosphere right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It trips me out to see Andy first time face to face. Like, man, what's going on?
Yeah, he like hugs you twice, once by himself and the second time with his beard.
Yeah. Beard's touch. No homo.
I'll segue off of that and say that this connective tissue that we call comic books is a fantastic thing, right? But truly the most fantastic thing is all the people out there at the convention, all the people watching the shows every week, all the people that are here at Comics News Weekly every week, and then meeting up at the convention with everybody. And that was the best part, and that's what made that 1,300-mile round trip worth it, worth every penny. I could have not picked up any books, and it would have been still the most epic con experience I've had this year so far. And I got a very special treat on Saturday night after everything was done. The hotel I was staying at had the Ringo Awards going on. So after the Tales from the Flipside get together, I ended up in the bar for the Ringo Awards party. And I ended up on the patio in the next floor up with a bunch of the letterers actually at the Ringo Awards, hanging out and talking with them. And Greg, the bearded comic bro, who I got to spend most of my weekend with, was a blast. And I tell you what, man, that was by far the best part, was being able to drop a dad joke and have everybody walk away from me like they never wanted to be a part of my life ever again. And it was the exact reaction I was hoping for.
That's awesome. Yeah, just super fun, man. And I've said this on different things. We have to remember, after we're getting a little heavier here. After what everybody's kind of been through in a year and a half or whatever you want to call it. Just remember, there's a whole world out there, like where movie theaters are open, or they're going to be open full, or where these cons can get together. And if you gotta, if you have to, put up with the, masks and things like that, whether you prefer not to. Still, that didn't stop me from getting on a red-eye flight. Didn't stop me from flying out at 7 a.m., which is 4 a.m. my time on Monday after a long-ass weekend. So just remember, there's a whole world out there that we have to go, participate, that to restaurants that we have to go to, movies to go see, things to go do, and Comic Cons to go to. Let's just get back out there and just do it together.
So, also real quick before Rob, you have something to show and tell that you're gonna like some puppets?
Flip side, we're gonna do a CGC unboxing, 16-book monster.
Nice. And I did drop off a bunch of hats and the beanies at the Flip Side booth to some Simple Man's Comics swag out there. So thanks for giving that stuff out.
And they were gone.
I didn't get one. I'll wear it.
They were gone. They were gone. I looked. They were gone.
So I'll make sure I get you one, Sean. But normally, the normal stream right now, we would do the one last thing and go around here real quick. But you can cue the bumper real quick, Andy, for one last thing.
Oh, boy. Yes, we can.
One last thing, one more thing, Samsonite. But I'm going to make it easy. One more thing. We're going to go around. Are you guys going to Baltimore Comic Con next year? McClay, what about you?
He's muted.
You're muted.
See, that's what happens when you go to Baltimore. Absolutely.
Andy, are you going to plan to go ahead? Just show up last minute, not go?
Plans or no plans. I'm not missing out ever again.
Like it. You're the furthest away. Well, you might. I don't know. Robert might be further than you, but
I think he can walk there before I can fly there. Yeah. Well, okay. Yes, I'm planning on going. I'm not happy that they're throwing it on like my wife's B-Day weekend 2 years in a row. They're seriously throwing a wrench putting this thing in October after NYCC. But am I planning on going? Hell yeah, I'm planning on going.
Yeah.
And totally joking because I think Rob lives like a block away.
Yeah.
Yeah. 10 minutes tops from speeding 5.
But yeah, the thing about mid-October is we don't get to see our dollar water guy out there selling waters.
Well, it's raining. Just
He could have made a killing this weekend in that line selling COVID bracelets. Get that COVID bracelet. Just $1.
Walking up like this high as I can't see it.
Yeah. So appreciate you guys joining us in the chat and the live stream. Everyone that's watching this on replay, put your comments in there. If you went to Baltimore, let us know. If you want to go next year, the dates are out. And I'm telling you, it's one of the best Comic Cons out there each and every year. Everyone shows up to it. There's a bunch of people that in the chat that were there, a bunch of other YouTubers, a bunch of people on Instagram. Hashtag Baltimore Comic Con. Just definitely check that out as well. And I put it in the chat immediately after this stream. If you guys go over to that Tales from the Flip Side YouTube channel, the brothers, you might see some of us over there, just saying. But we're picking up part 2 where it's probably going to get out of control, and I mean that in the best way possible, because Sean Leggett's he went to the Ravens-Bengals game. There was also Transformers Comic Con in my hotel. It was a busy weekend, but and they're going to talk about having a booth at Comic Con, I'm sure. So all that's going down right now on Tales from the Flip Side YouTube channel. Check that link in the live chat. With that being said, guys, this is Brownstone Men's Comics. We'll see you next week.
Look, they talking like they don't know a king when they see one. See him in person, he take it back like a refund. Ballin' with my brothers, all my playing D1. Daily checking chicken, he gon' spin it watching reruns.